In the heart of Tokyo during the late 1980s, a musical revolution quietly began to take shape, one that would forever alter the landscape of the city's underground music scene. This was the rise of Japan's underground hip-hop culture, a movement that drew heavily from the sounds and styles of American hip-hop, but soon evolved into something distinctly Japanese. It started with a small group of passionate young people who, inspired by the rhythms, beats, and raw storytelling of American artists, embraced hip-hop not just as a genre, but as a mode of self-expression and identity. Hip-hop first entered Japan primarily through American media and the import of records during the early to mid-1980s. Movies, music videos, and television brought the sights and sounds of the Bronx and Los Angeles to Japanese audiences for the first time. These cultural exports carried with them the elements of hip-hop culture, the DJing, the MCing, breakdancing, and graffiti art. Tokyo's youth, intrigued by this fresh and dynamic art form, initially consumed it as fans, but their enthusiasm quickly morphed into active participation. Early hip-hop clubs and venues began to pop up in neighborhoods like Shibuya and Shinjuku, attracting dedicated crowds who were hungry for a new type of music and expression. These spaces became hubs for DJs spinning imported American vinyl and for local MCs experimenting with rapping in Japanese. Unlike mainstream Japanese pop music, which often featured polished idol groups and carefully produced sounds, underground hip-hop was raw, energetic, and deeply rooted in local context. The young artists of Tokyo's underground scene did not simply imitate American hip-hop, they adapted it. Language was the first major shift. While many initially rapped in English or used English phrases, artists soon found their own voice by rapping in Japanese, embedding local slang and cultural references. This linguistic innovation helped bridge global hip-hop's powerful messages with distinctly Japanese experiences, a reflection of urban life, social challenges, and youth culture. Musically, Tokyo's underground producers began blending traditional hip-hop beats with elements of Japanese musical heritage and other diverse influences. Sampling, a core element of hip-hop, was used creatively to incorporate sounds that resonated with Japanese listeners in a new way. The music also reflected a curiosity for experimentation, laying the groundwork for future artists to push boundaries even further. Importantly, this underground movement served as a form of community and resistance. While Japan's mainstream society often emphasized conformity, the hip-hop scene offered a space where individuality and alternative viewpoints could flourish. Young people who felt marginalized or disconnected found in hip-hop a tool for storytelling and solidarity. The culture's emphasis on authenticity and keeping it real resonated deeply among these emerging artists and fans. Though still largely underground by the end of the 1990s, Tokyo's hip-hop scene had established a strong and growing foundation. The grassroots nature of the movement meant it was propelled by word of mouth, small concerts, mixtapes exchanged on cassette tapes, and late-night radio broadcasts devoted to hip-hop. As Tokyo's hip-hop underground gained traction in the 1990s, a network of dedicated venues, music collectives, and independent labels became central to its growth. Clubs such as Club Harlem in Shibuya and the legendary Contact in Shinjuku offered spaces where local DJs and MCs could perform regularly, building live audiences eager for fresh sounds beyond the commercial J-pop scene. These venues nurtured a sense of community among artists and fans, enabling the cultivation of a distinctive Tokyo style that combined hip-hop's core elements with urban Japanese realities. At the same time, collectives like Gagel and Native Soul emerged, bringing together producers, rappers, and DJs who collaborated extensively to push creative boundaries. Their music often breathed new life into the beat-heavy underground, infusing traditional Japanese instrumental samples with modern electronic influences, crafting something uniquely tied to Tokyo's bustling cityscape. The city's sprawling urban environment played an important role in shaping the themes and styles within its underground hip-hop. Rapid urbanization and economic shifts during Japan's so-called lost decade of the 1990s created a backdrop of uncertainty and struggle for many young people. Lyrics frequently reflected these tensions, addressing issues such as youth unemployment, social isolation, and the pressures of conforming to a rigid societal structure. Unlike mainstream media, which tended to emphasize polished perfection and group harmony, hip-hop artists were able to voice frustration, aspiration, and individuality. This made the genre particularly resonant with those on the margins of Japanese society. Stylistically, MCs began rapping predominantly in Japanese, incorporating local dialects and slang that gave their storytelling a strong sense of place. The city itself almost became a character in the music, captured through vivid descriptions of neon-lit streets, cramped apartments, and the daily grind of urban life. This authentic portrayal helped distinguish Tokyo's underground scene from both American hip-hop and domestic pop. Parallel to these evolving artistic approaches, independent labels such as P-Vine Records and Sampling Masters pushed underground hip-hop artists into greater visibility. These labels prioritized creative freedom and grassroots promotion, often releasing vinyl records and CDs that circulated within niche music communities. They also organized live showcases and hip-hop events that drew increasing crowds, bolstering the scene's momentum. By the early 2000s, hip-hop acts like Nitro Microphone Underground had begun to receive critical acclaim and were instrumental in expanding the genre's reach. Their tenacity helped open doors into wider Asian markets, as well as the global underground music network. Importantly, the role of dedicated events and hip-hop festivals cannot be understated. Gatherings such as the Tokyo Urban Music Festival brought together artists, DJs, and fans from across Japan and abroad, facilitating exchange and collaboration. The international connections forged through such events contributed to Tokyo's underground scene gaining recognition not just as a local phenomenon, but as a contributor to global hip-hop culture. This period also witnessed the increased use of the internet, which played a critical role in spreading Tokyo's underground sounds beyond Japan's borders. As file sharing and online forums grew, so did interest in Japanese hip-hop's innovative beats and authentic urban narratives. Tokyo's underground hip-hop scene has since grown into a vital force influencing both Japanese culture and the wider global hip-hop community. The artists at the heart of this movement have continuously expanded the boundaries of the genre, developing innovative styles and storytelling techniques that resonate deeply with listeners. While hip-hop worldwide has often grappled with commercialization, Tokyo's underground scene has carefully navigated these pressures, striving to retain authenticity and creative freedom amid a music industry increasingly shaped by corporate interests. This balancing act remains one of the scene's most defining challenges. One significant contribution Tokyo artists have made is redefining lyrical content and flow to suit the rhythms and nuances of the Japanese language. Unlike rhyming-heavy English rap, Japanese hip-hop artists often employ intricate wordplay, cultural references, and regional dialects that enrich their storytelling. These narratives frequently explore themes relevant to Japanese youth: economic uncertainty, social expectations, personal struggles, and the search for identity within an often uniform society. By embedding local realities into their music, they provide a voice to those who might otherwise feel invisible. Musically, Tokyo's underground producers have experimented with fusing traditional Japanese instruments and scales with classic hip-hop beats and modern electronic sounds. This blending not only honors cultural heritage, but also pushes hip-hop's sonic boundaries, creating a distinctive atmosphere that differentiates Tokyo's outputs from other hip-hop hubs around the world. For example, the integration of shakuhachi flutes or taiko drum samples within beats adds texture and depth unique to Japan's soundscape. Such innovations have contributed to a growing international interest in Japan's underground hip-hop, attracting collaborations and remixes with artists across Asia, Europe, and North America. Despite its artistic success, the underground scene faces ongoing challenges, particularly in the digital era. Streaming platforms and social media have democratized music distribution, enabling independent artists to reach global audiences without traditional label support. At the same time, the sheer volume of content available online creates difficulties in standing out and sustaining a career solely within underground circles. Tokyo's hip-hop artists often balance passionate fan bases with financial uncertainty, as digital revenue models can be unpredictable. Nevertheless, the underground remains resilient. Regular live shows, intimate hip-hop clubs, and grassroots festivals continue to foster a sense of community and shared purpose. These gatherings are crucial not only for performances, but also for networking, mentorship, and preserving the culture's core principles. In recent years, a new generation of artists, inspired by their predecessors, has emerged, blending global hip-hop trends with local experiences. This ongoing cycle ensures that Tokyo's underground scene is not static, but continuously evolving, responding dynamically to social change and new technologies. Internationally, Tokyo's hip-hop underground has become a point of fascination for youth and artists across the globe. Its emphasis on authenticity, innovation, and cultural specificity resonates with listeners who seek alternatives to mainstream hip-hop narratives. Furthermore, the scene has contributed to a broader understanding of how hip-hop can adapt to diverse linguistic and cultural contexts while maintaining its roots in self-expression and resistance.